Hey Songbirds, I'm back. It's JC VEDA day 4, I believe. No, it's 5. It's 5. I can't believe it's Thursday already, right? So I thought since we're doing a lot of musical stuff, I think it would be good for me to show you how to do some proper breathing techniques. But first, when I'm telling all my students when they're new, I like to start with talking a little bit about the anatomy of the singer. So if this is boring, you can fast forward, and I'll put down in the comments below in that little description box, I will write down where the video starts for the breathing exercises. So today I'm going to demonstrate 2 breathing exercises, but if you're new to the world of singing or you're trying to learn the anatomy really quickly, I'm going to give you a few little ideas of what the anatomy looks like so that when I'm explaining certain things to you, the descriptions or the words or the anatomy that I talk about won't be confusing, okay? So the parts of the singer, I always say that singing is very much a sport. It requires a lot of energy, and I do think for proper singing technique, you do need to have a well-oiled machine. You need to be taking care of your body, and nutrition is a big part of that. Exercise, taking care of yourself. I'm always going to stress that, so that's very important. But going back to the anatomy of the singer, I'm going to give you some ideas of what the anatomy looks like in the body so that if I give you some words, you'll understand what those words are and where they can be found in the body so it's not confusing. Okay, so starting from the top, you have what's called the mask. You'll hear a lot of singers talk about the mask, or my father calls it the cone of tone. So it almost sounds like it comes from your eyes. So where that is actually where your sinus cavities are. So right here by the nose, all behind here, right up here. So that is called the mask. That's where all of your resonance, you'll feel a lot of resonance coming from there. So whenever I use the term sing from the mask, it needs to come from here, and I can eventually give you some ideas of exercises so that you can start to feel where the mask is, okay? So as we're moving down, obviously the nose, the lips, the mouth, that's all part of the singing. It's a big part of singing. But inside the mouth is kind of the mechanics behind it, which is really, really cool. So, okay, if you're not familiar with your hard palate and your soft palate, I'm going to show you what those are right now, because I always talk with these terms and definitions with my students. Okay, so your hard palate, take your tongue and put it to the roof of your mouth right behind your teeth. Okay, you feel how hard that is right there? That is your hard palate. It's the hard bone inside right behind the teeth. And then behind that, if you take your tongue and you slowly slide it back like this, or if you take a clean finger, you will feel it back in the back. Right where the hard palate ends is where the soft palate begins, and it's much softer. It moves a lot more. It can lift up and it can lower like this. Almost looks like a tent, like when you would have the top of a tent. And part of the anatomy of a singer that is so important is you need to raise the soft palate. So one of the ways that you can do that is to yawn. Now I apologize ahead of time because now I'm going to make you yawn. And you'll probably yawn for the rest of this video. So here we go. Do you feel how that raises at the top of the soft palate up here? You'll feel an openness and a space inside the mouth. Another way that you can feel the soft palate raising, my husband has the kids, by the way. They're just calling for me because they know I'm at the top of the stairs. So he's playing with them. They're good. They're just singing my name. So they're going to demonstrate the singing for us. Okay, so another way to feel the soft palate is to pretend or visualize that you have an egg in your mouth, like this. So you would not want your teeth to touch, otherwise you're going to crack the egg. So singers always need to have that high arch where their soft palate is, but also part of good singing is to have your tongue and your larynx, which is right here, lay flat and relaxed, okay? So when you do those exercises where you either yawn, you're probably still yawning, I apologize, or you're pretending to have the egg in your mouth, do you notice how my jaw naturally lowers and relaxes? That is what you want for a great singing technique. Everything should be in a line, straight up and down, and it's very, very good for your spine to have everything. It helps the sound to come out and be completely effortless, okay? So for men, it's very easy to see where the larynx is because you'll see the Adam's apple go up and down, but it's harder for women to see kind of where that is. If I'm singing a high note, you'll see my larynx raises, or when I go lower, it'll lower a little bit. And you can kind of feel, experiment, feel those different places in your body where the notes are moving. And also you have your vocal folds inside your body kind of shaped like this, and they move together to create a pitch, okay? So they kind of vibrate really, really quickly. And also, of course, your lungs and your rib cage and all of that needs to be expanded. And then also the diaphragm. The diaphragm is the singer's best friend. I love exercising, but I'm very careful not to do too many crunches or sit-ups because I want to make sure that my diaphragm is nice and loose. Okay, so what we're going to do is 2 different exercises today to show you how to warm up and strengthen the diaphragm and make you super, super incredible breathers. This is what I use all the time. This is what I teach my students. You are going to see a huge improvement when you start doing these exercises on a regular basis. Okay, so I'm wearing a loose top. I'm going to move this over to do the demonstration. I'm wearing a semi-loose top today, so it's hard to tell, but I'm going to pull this back a little bit so that you can see. Okay, here's my stomach. And ladies, it is not time to be self-conscious, okay? If you want to be a singer, you can't be embarrassed about sticking your tummy out, okay? I had 3 babies. The tummy was sticking out the whole time. You just gotta, it is what it is, okay? And if you still are self-conscious, get you a flowy top. Get you a flowy top when you sing, okay? So I'm going to pull it back just to demonstrate these next 2 exercises. So when I'm doing my singing exercises and breathing exercises to strengthen my stomach, I will put my hand right here. Of course, you don't want to hold your hand there when you're singing. But my breathing exercises, what I do is I do counts and I try to time them because I want to make sure that I'm not cheating and I want to do it exactly in seconds so that I know how to increase and that I have a gauge to go by every time that I'm trying to increase my breathing technique, okay? So what you're going to do, especially if you're new to breathing, you've been breathing your whole life. It's the one thing that you have when you enter this world and you leave this world, but proper breathing for singing, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time this, and what I want you to do is when I have you breathing in on the inhale, you're going to imagine that you have a coffee straw, the little teeny tiny straw, in your mouth between your lips like this. Okay, and you'll hear when I'm breathing in, it's just a little bit of air, okay? And then when you're breathing out on the exhale, I want you to make a hissing noise like a snake, okay? So it's going to sound like this. Okay, so I always like to describe it as if you were given $100 at the beginning of the month just for groceries and you had to make it last to the very end of the month, you would need to be very careful how you budget it. It's the same thing with your breath, because if you run out at the end of the phrase, that's it, and it sounds not good and it's not pretty and it breaks the flow, it breaks the concentration. It's not good. So you want to have good breath control and good flow. So budget your breath. Okay? So what I want you to imagine is almost like pulling taffy. You wouldn't just let an air balloon go and just let it fall over the place. I just spit everywhere. I apologize. Singing makes me very passionate. So you would want to slowly release the air out from the top of the balloon like this. So that helps you budget your breath, okay? So on the inhale, exhale, okay? So initially, to start this exercise, we are going to go breathe in for 5 counts and breathe out for 8 counts, okay? You ready? We're gonna do this. Okay, 1, 2, ready, go. Good. And I probably could have gone longer, but when you're first starting out, you don't want to go really, really far and too terribly long, okay? And give yourself a break in between these exercises because you don't want to get dizzy. That's not the point of this, is to see how much you can turn blue. The point is to start slowly, gradually stretching the breath, okay? The next one that we're going to do is I'm going to increase the breath. So I'm going to breathe in for 8 counts and breathe out for 10. Okay? Ready, set, go. Great. All right. Did you do it? Good job, y'all. I know you did a great job. Round of applause. And then you just slowly increase that over time. And what I want you to notice is when you're breathing, I do not want you to collapse your shoulders every time you do an exhale. You've done all this preparatory work where you're taking deep, relaxed breaths with your jaw and larynx down. I don't want you to release all of that hard work that you've just prepared for. So it's always slow and relaxed and even. Okay. So the next exercise that I'm going to do is one that my professor taught me, and I still use this to this day. And usually I will use this technique when I'm having a lot of trouble with a lot of words or a lot of fast moving phrases or long running lines like melismas. Okay, so I'm going to try to find a book up here. I've got a binder, but they're kind of flimsy. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use, and you can use one too. The point is that it's supposed to press up against your belly to help keep you conscious of where your diaphragm is. All right, so I will use this technique when I am vocalizing, doing vocal warm-ups, or when I'm actually practicing the song that I'm having breathing issues with, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the binder or the book right where my navel is, right in the center. And I'll turn to show you. I keep my arms out to give my lungs and ribs room to expand. And I'll breathe out, I'll breathe in. You'll see this binder kind of pushes out, and when I sing a note, I want the binder to stay out in this position. So that means even though the air is going down, the diaphragm is not collapsing. So the air will go out, but this does not move. Neither does this, okay? Here is the preparatory breath. And then when I sing that note, I'm going to sing just an easy note on Ma. I'm going to keep the binder exactly out and in the same position. I don't want it to collapse. I don't want it to go in at all. I want it to support me. So I'm going to sing Ma. Ready? Go. Ma. Okay, did your binder move? Did your book move? I hope not. And so that's the technique. Those are 2 of the techniques that I use for breathing. And so I will use that book or binder trick all the time, especially when I'm singing a song. So I will sing the entire song with the binder against my belly button. It's a mental thing as well. It helps you to keep super conscious and focused on the breathing. You've probably already gone through the words and the rhythms and all of those little tiny details. This is strictly focusing on the breath. So it doesn't have to sound pretty. You're just trying to strengthen and increase your breath support. And I promise you, if you do these even for just 2 or 3 minutes a day, focused concentration on your breathing exercises, you will see a transformation in just a couple short weeks. I promise you. I use this all the time and I love it. So thank you so much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Subscribe. There's a little button below that you can click. It's a red button and you can subscribe. And also leave a comment if you have any other questions about singing or have any videos that you'd like for me to do in regards to singing exercises or how-tos in regards to singing. So thanks so much for joining me today, and no matter what side of the bed you woke up on this morning, you can always end your day on a high note. Bye!